Hello, so I'm here today with Colin Beever, who is our Lucas expert at Holden Vintage and Classic. You've been working here on and off since 1988?
Yeah.
Yep, and before that you were working for other classic car parts companies, and you've been working on a lot of different vintage old cars. We're very glad to have him here because when you call up, he's the person on the other end of the telephone who will give you your answers to those really obscure questions about your car parts. When you've called everybody else and you've not come up with the answers, Colin is the person who usually is the one that will get you to where you need to be. So, Colin, can you tell us a little bit about what we've got here?
Yeah, basically a Lucas technical library back to about 1936 here.
Mm-hmm. This is our in-house library, isn't it? This is what we keep here all the time.
Yeah.
And how many of these do you reckon you've looked at over the years?
Over the years, I've looked at the majority of them. Those two books there I've actually read, which is the history of Lucas 100 years. Mm-hmm. But the rest I've used on a daily basis for 36 years.
Yeah, you've even written a book, haven't you? You've written a book on ignition and timing.
Specialising in Lucas ignition,
Yeah, so when you were writing that book, how many products do you think you tested?
Stacks.
Stacks.
Those were purely ignition products, but as I was finding doing that, lots of products have been remade several times. So you've got your old original Lucas product, which the majority of the time I think was a very good quality product. It may have been reproduced after that. One might be okay, 5 might be terrible. And I spent my time sorting the good from the bad. Yep.
So if you were wanting to put a Lucas product on your car, how would you recommend that they went about that?
Phone us. We've got over 20,000 Lucas product lines. So there's a chance we may have a proper, true original. If not, you can guarantee what we are selling is the best of the bunch what we can get now.
Okay, that's great. Now, Lucas has actually got a bit of a bad reputation, hasn't it? If you talk in car clubs and if you look online, there are pages and pages talking about the Prince of Darkness. Can you tell me a bit about that?
Yeah, especially the Americans love that. Lucas was nicknamed the Prince of Darkness, which I think is a bit unfair. People were saying it was bad quality. It isn't. The original old Lucas product was more or less a handmade product. It was a good quality product, good quality materials. Yeah, a bit unfair, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we have to do is we have to look in the context of when these products were actually made. So Lucas goes back to 160 years ago. We're talking 1860. And back in those days, there were horse and carts. There was no electricity, there was no light bulb. Things were very rustic, really. They were long dresses and old ways of doing things. I mean, very different from the world that we see today. Can you tell me a little bit about the first things that Lucas actually manufactured?
The first product that they properly manufactured was called the Tom Bowling lamp, which was a ship's lamp. After that, they made quite a lot of those. After that, they went into cycle lamps. So penny farthings, things like that, would have a nice lamp hanging down in the centre of the wheel. They did lots of early lamps which were just, they were carbide lamps. They were lit.
Yeah.
Got a little chimney on the top, flame inside. Yeah.
Smoke coming out, so people riding along on the penny farthings could see where they were going at night time. It's one of the very first highway code acts was to bring in people cycling at night time needed to have a lamp on the front of their bicycle.
And Lucas made a lot of cycle lamps and even cycle bells.
Yeah. So, and then you go on to sort of the motorised car, which in the early days they looked a lot like horse and carts, really, without the horse. And if you think about it, Lucas at that time, they were blazing the trail, weren't they? They were so important in the forefront of engineering. And you have to think, if you think about the fact that they were the first and that they were doing it to the best standards that they could, and they were, one of the most important. And as you kind of go and progress towards the modern motor car, the very early, what we understand as a motor car today, you have to think about what that object, what that little bit of engineering was designed to do at the time. So if you think about the way that the cars were built, there wasn't so much plastic insulation inside the wiring. So the actual current that you would get travelling down your original wire, which would be made up of thousands and thousands of tiny little copper pieces, which wouldn't have been an alloy. There wouldn't have been any mixed metals in there. It would have been very pure. So you wouldn't be losing the current from your battery, and also that part was designed to work on it as was that specific ampage going into it. So you wouldn't want any more or any less, because you get problems with metal fatiguing or getting too much energy to it. And when we fast forward to some of the reproductions today, they're not made in the same way.
It's the quality of the components and the joints where they solder things on. Lots of it just isn't made well. It's made to the cheapest possible way they can do it.
Yeah.
And whereas you think in the olden days, lots of the switches Lucas made actually had platinum tips, you know, for perfect.
They knew what they were doing.
Yeah,
they were true
items.
engineers, and they actually really cared about what they did. So there's some new things going on at Lucas headquarters at the moment. Can you tell us a little bit about what we've got in front of us here?
Yeah, this is just a selection of some of the boxes we've taken out of the stores, just showing different packaging over the years. The older styles like these, just post-war, where you've got your Lucas, CAV and Rotax logo, which went through then to the 60s, where they started bringing in the red and the black. Very nice packaging, I think. Nice. Into the late 60s, early 70s, they stayed with the red and black, just changed the design a bit. And then in 1974, they came up with what lots of people know as the Lucas arrow. It isn't an arrow actually, it's a letter L. This stayed with us right through to today. They changed the packaging colour, but still got the L. And now, with the takeover of ZF, they've gone back to lovely Lucas packaging. Black and red, the old design, the king of the road, but still kept the L there to just mix the modern
really nice packaging,
and the
isn't
old.
it? Yeah.
And ZF are putting a lot of effort into this now, a lot of marketing, a lot of money. If you're going to get a product in one of these boxes, it's going to be a quality product again. So we're drifting away from lots of the products we're getting a bit, let's say, made to a budget, rather than something that's going to come in one of these boxes, which is going to be a good quality product again. Yeah.
So we're very pleased to be bringing this on board now, aren't we?
Yeah.
It gives us a lot more options.
Yeah.
So why would you buy from Holden Vintage and Classic and not from somewhere else?
We have got the experience, we've got the knowledge. As you can see, our library, we will recommend the correct part, not just something that may look right.
And we've got all the backup and the sales, and if you've got any questions or if you need to exchange something, we've got the infrastructure here, haven't we?
We have, yeah. We've been going a long time now. And even if you just want some advice, you know, give us a ring.
We really care, don't we? We really care about your car and what you're doing with it, because, you know, these things, when we're working on our cars, we want things to be right, don't we?
Yeah. And me personally, I've got my own Lucas library at home, which goes back to the early 20s, so even older than this. So yeah, it is a true interest.
So I hope you liked our video. If you'd like to get in touch, you can get on our website and go to www.holden.co.uk, or you can email us, sales@holden.co.uk, or you can give us a call and give Colin a call with your Lucas questions. He'll be glad to answer them. Our telephone number is 01885 488 488, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much.
Okay.